Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another JLecture for the month of March of 2023. And in this JLecture this season, we'll be discussing mastering the art of writing and communication, something that's very important indeed, especially if you're going to be making content in the online world. If you're doing something like copywriting or you're taking college courses, mastering the art of writing and communication, because the two go hand in hand, is going to be very beneficial to you. So in this presentation, I'm going to teach you boys how to do that. So first of all, the detail / the objective. Welcome to our presentation on mastering the art of writing and communication. And in today's world, effective communication skills are more important than ever before. I'm sure we all know this. Whether you're a student, professional, or entrepreneur, the ability to write well and communicate clearly can help you succeed in all aspects of life. And we'll outline how to do this here. This presentation note is more of a point-by-point basis, so we'll be putting like various accent points and the various skills that you need, so then you can put those in your own notes and then you can reflect on them. I highly recommend keeping a notes journal while you're watching the JLectures. So first of all, why is writing and communication important? Well, first of all, so you don't say the wrong thing when you're trying to make a presentation, but also, effective communication and writing skills are crucial for success in the modern world, and they help you to connect with others, express your thoughts and ideas clearly, and build strong relationships with colleagues, clients, and customers. This can be true of writers who do it professionally, of copywriters, of financial advisors who have to fill out a lot of paperwork. Writing is generally the way that we communicate with one another, and mastering it, along with various other things that I've talked about on this channel, like body language and also facial expressions, just general accent work and how to appeal to people in a more than physical sense. Communication is also going to be very important with that. And combining it with writing is going to be very beneficial to you. So the idea is to optimize effective communication for success in the modern world, as well as writing skills, and maximizing those two together. So you don't want to, try to train them at separate areas. Effective communication and writing skills go hand in hand, so as you improve your writing, you're actually going to become a better communicator. And as you become a better communicator, your vocabulary is going to grow, you're going to have a much easier time talking to people, and you're going to get better at writing. So you're going to be able to better connect with others, express your thoughts and ideas, and build stronger relationships with not only colleagues and friends, but also clients and customers. So first of all, these are the points that I was talking about. The key elements of effective writing, and I recommend that you write all this down. Perhaps it's going to be the first training in writing that you've had in a while, and it's going to help you communicate better. So, effective writing is clear, concise, and engaging. It should be easy to read and understand, and it should convey your message in a way that resonates deeply with your audience. The key elements of effective writing may include clarity, conciseness, accuracy, brevity, coherence, as well as cohesion. So clarity is making your arguments as clear as possible so that the other person doesn't have trouble understanding them, because a lot of the time people won't tell you that they misunderstood something you said. They're just going to jump on right to the next thing, and you don't want that. You want to make sure that they understand what you're explaining, and the best way to do that is to be clear and concise. And next step, conciseness. Conciseness is basically being short. There's already so much written work out there. There's so many books. There's so much stuff to read. If you aren't concise, then people aren't going to pay attention. You've ever heard the internet phrase TLDR, short for too long didn't read, TL:DR? Well, that's because a lot of people just aren't going to read if your writing isn't very concise. So by making your writing more concise, you become a better writer and author. Accuracy. Accuracy is also an important step that you need to make sure that you've got checked off the list. By being more accurate, you can spread your message to a wider audience of people and make sure that people actually understand what you're trying to do, because the information that you're relaying is not bad, it's correct. And if your information isn't correct, or you have a bad experience with giving information, then people aren't just going to go for that. Brevity. Brevity is very similar to conciseness, except brevity has a larger focus on being as brief as possible, not getting too offhanded with what you're saying, and basically sticking to the point. If you learn to stick to the point, you'll become very efficient very quickly. Coherence. This is similar to cohesion, but there are some slight differences. So in coherence, you want to make your claim as understandable as possible, while cohesion, you want to make it as understandable as possible in the smallest amount of time. So I hope I've explained all these with accuracy. Again, they are clarity, conciseness, accuracy, brevity, coherence, and cohesion. So I hope this slide of the presentation was clear, concise, accurate, brief, coherent, and cohesive. Effective writing, again, is clear, concise, and engaging, and implementing these key elements will help you make it even better. Key elements of effective communication. Effective communication is not just about speaking or writing well, but it's also about actively listening and understanding your audience. So a teacher speaking to a classroom of students will be different than a boss speaking to a room of his employees. The key elements of effective communication, especially in a setting like a conference room, include active listening. So this is what I covered in my video on social skills, multiple of my videos on social skills, in fact. You have to actively listen to the other person to make sure you understand what they are saying. Clarity, you want to be clear and concise in your argument, so conciseness as well. Nonverbal communication, these are things like body language and your expressiveness for things like facial expressions or your physical presence. I've talked about this before in the past. Empathy, there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. Empathy is actually feeling what the other person is feeling, while sympathy is communicating it. So a lot of people don't understand this, and they use empathy and sympathy as synonyms. And you need to understand a clear difference because there are no two words in the English language that have the same meaning. Feedback is basically just retelling the other person what they told you. First of all, you have to make that very clear. Restate what you understood from what they were telling you, and then share your opinion on it in a constructive way. And make sure you know how to handle when other people give you feedback and how to encourage them to give you constructive feedback. Ideally, you want to positively reinforce constructive feedback, sort of pat them on the back, figuratively speaking, or even literally speaking, when they give you constructive criticism. Of course, make sure everyone in your audience is comfortable, as this will encourage active listening, clarity, conciseness, nonverbal communication, empathy, and feedback. So these are the key elements of effective communication, but also may be helpful in writing. So some tips for improving communication skills very quickly. Improving your writing and communication skills takes time and effort, but the rewards are well worth it. Here are some tips to help you improve your skills. So first of all, read widely. You read that right. Widely, not wisely. Read across an area of different fields, even those that you have little interest in, or things that you don't agree with. For example, I've recently started reading books on Islam and Hinduism just to teach myself about these different religions, even though I do believe that I'm a Christian. So the reason why I read about these different religions is to get a broader perspective on life, to read widely so that I can improve my communication skills when I'm talking to someone that's a Muslim or a Hindu. And that way I can get what I want from the conversation and the exchange in a non-selfish way. So read widely, practice regularly. Practice, the most important part for communication skills. Many people, the majority of people in fact, never take time to actually sit down and improve their communication skills. They don't think of it as practice. They just go along with life and hope they won't improve by themselves. They don't. So you have to keep in mind to practice regularly so you can get better at talking to people. Get feedback. Retrieve feedback from other people so that they can tell you how they feel about your product or the information or the service that you're providing them. This is pretty easy to understand. Use simple language. So maybe don't dumb down everything you say, but make sure that the other person is on the same level as you and that they understand what you're saying before using certain types of language or expressions. Listen actively. This goes along with a former slide, as well as be concise. So when you listen actively and are concise, you can express yourself in fewer words and be briefer, while also learning more about the other person. And this actually helps you gain leverage in the conversation and will help you improve your communication skills on the long run. So improving writing communication skills takes time and effort. Rewards are well worth the risk, and some tips to improve your skills are to read widely, practice regularly, get feedback or retrieve feedback, use simple language, listen actively, as well as being concise. Being concise and brief is also very important. Best practices for business writing and communication. In a business setting, effective writing and communication skills are even more important. And here's some of the best practices to keep in mind. First of all, to know your audience, to be clear and concise, to use a professional tone. And next, to use an active voice, more than a passive voice. So an active voice is when you make variation. A passive voice is when you just read text like this and you're just very monotone about everything you say. I used to know a girl that had a very clear passive voice. I knew her in 8th grade, and whenever she would get up in front of the room to speak, she would speak exactly like this, and she would not differentiate anything she was saying, or put accent marks in anything. She just spoke very blandly like this and kept on going this way until she stopped what she was saying. It was just like that over and over, you know? Proofread and edit carefully. This is also quite important. And use visuals to enhance your message. If your message doesn't have any visuals, it's not that good of a message. Why is writing and communication important? To be a good writer, an honest writer, and a writer who actually writes, it's important to reevaluate one's inhibitions. So this is like Ayn Rand said, the first part of I love you is the I. You have to define who you are first before you get a message out, especially an important message. This is from Brian Hutchinson from Writer's Doubt, the book, actually. So why is writing and communication important? Let's answer that question. Effective writing and communication skills are essential. Mark that down for success in the modern world. Hope you're taking notes. Whether you are communicating with colleagues, friends, clients, and customers, the ability to express yourself clearly and persuasively is one of the most valuable assets you can provide. And by following these tips and best practices, you can improve your skills and become a master of writing and communication. Thank you for your attention. Mastery usually takes 10,000 hours, but because we spend most of our time communicating, especially if you're an extrovert, you can get a better idea of how this works. This was the presentation. This concludes the slides. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.